So we are live.
I'd like to call this meeting to order, please.
I'm a little late.
I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Pat Winslow,
Present.
Bob Shay,
Present.
Aileen McDade Coleman, present. Hans Petcher,
Here.
Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale, present. Elaine Daly, here. Amy Sargent, present. Brian Muldrow,
Here. Here.
Present. Please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Legislature strong.
I ask that you join me for a moment of silence. Today is the 4-year anniversary of the Abbey Gate bombing. 13 American service members paid the ultimate sacrifice in protecting our country's freedom ways of life. Please keep their families and their loved ones in your hearts and prayers. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone to Locke Fire Department. Thank you, Legislator Strong and the members of the Locke Fire Department for arranging this for us and allowing us to be here today. Welcome, everyone. With that said, we have 2 public hearings this evening. Public hearings, call 315-294-8051 if you wish to speak on the public hearing. Public hearing 1 is a public hearing on local law imposing the tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms and short-term rentals pursuant to Chapter 533 of the laws of 1994 of the state of New York. And public hearing number 2 is a public hearing on the formation of proposed county sewer district number 3. And again, that phone number is 315-294-8051 if you would like to call in regarding the public hearing. Do we have anyone here this evening that would like to speak to the public hearing on the county sewer district number 3? Okay, with that said, I have a list here of folks that would like to speak regarding the occupancy tax for the hotel rooms, and we will begin with Karen Cool. You'll be limited to 3 minutes, please, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, Jonathan, you know me, right?
I do.
She can rant.
They'll warn you for a little bit.
Did it start already then? Well, good evening. Thank you, Chair Anna and legislators. As you know, I'm the Executive Director for the Cayuga County Tourism Office located in 25 South Street, Auburn, New York. And I'm going to start addressing you, Chair Anna. When you and I first met a while back in the legislative chambers in Genesee Street, you came up to me and you said, Karen, I like you. We're going to do good things together because you're not going to ask me for money. I'm like, you're right. And to this day, we did not come to this legislative body for any budgeting. Our budget comes directly from our own money that we raise by bringing people to the area, by making the informed decisions how to support our businesses, helping them with being prepared as a business concept, helping them how to host visitors, helping them how to market themselves. And by letting people know to come here, we raise our own revenue. And every year we provide to this body our projected budget for the next year. You don't give us a penny more than you actually receive. This year, I'm in a pickle because I projected more than we're actually getting. So I'm already having to pull back programs, but I do not come back to this legislative body saying, hey, I miscalculated. I need an extra $300,000 to make my budget. It's my own problem. I miscalculated. We are a fiscally responsible organization. And part for that reason, we have funds in reserve, just in case there are any issues with our occupancy, with receiving funds from the county so that we're able to continue paying our staff without taking out loans. Yesterday, we received the 2024 tourism numbers by the Empire State Development. These are the 2024 economic development numbers that show that Cayuga County brought in $9.9 million of sales tax locally. Here in Cayuga County, we brought almost $10 million of sales tax from our $1 million budget, approximately $1.2 million budget. That's almost a 10-to-1 return without this legislative body having a line item for this office, without having to give us any money. I want to make sure you know that. More importantly, what this report just shows, it just came back out from ESC, is that we are third in the 14-county region showing growth in sales tax to this body.
We have 30 more seconds, Karen.
30 more seconds, all right. I will close with thanking the legislature because there was a foresight of this organization back in 1994 that established this occupancy tax and that started funding this organization. Keeping this funding the way it is will continue ensuring the growth and continue ensuring the support of our local businesses and the growth of your sales tax.
Claire Dunlap.
Good evening, everyone. I am Claire Dunlap, and I've been with the Cayuga office for just about 5 years. And in that 5 years, I've seen significant growth in awareness, visitation, and investment in Cayuga County as a travel destination. As Director of Marketing and Sales at the Cayuga County Convention and Visitors Bureau, my role isn't only about attending trade shows and marketplaces to promote our county. Certainly part of it, but my work, a large part of it, starts right here at home before I go out to do that. Working with our partners, helping to support and prepare them for the visitors that we're going to bring in and ensure that they can succeed as well. I'd like to give 2 examples of this. Partner education and training. One with Miles Partnership. We trained our partners on the importance of keeping Google My Business listings up to date. Covering not just the accuracy, but best practices on how to stand out with strong images, concise, sought after information. And beyond the webinar and written tips, partners even have access to one-on-one office hours for personalized support. Our second example is with Aon Tourism Services on our group tour initiatives. They led workshops on creating enticing one-pagers that businesses, our office, and tour operators use to sell the destination. Our partners received both group instruction and individual editing sessions. We even created direct selling opportunities down in New York City, where I represented the whole Cayuga County, and I was able to bring partners with us for one-on-one meetings with the tour operators. And I would just like to thank a few of those partners: Ford O'Hara Agricultural Museum, the Red Peter Company, Cayuga State Winery, Sterling Nature Center, Izzo's White Barn Winery, and Holiday Inn, and many more. These are just 2 examples of how our efforts and the work that we do is not only about the visitors, but also deeply invested in strengthening Cayuga County's local businesses, attractions, and community. It's about building each other up so that we can all succeed together. Let's talk impact. The last conference I secured brought in 300 people for 10 nights. That translated into over 1,000 hotel room nights and nearly $350,000 in direct economic impact. And that was just one event. And lastly, Karen mentioned our updated numbers since I wrote this yesterday. But the bigger picture, on a $1 million budget, tourism generated $9 million in sales tax revenue in 2023. That was $10 million before.
30 seconds.
At 10-to-1 in 2020. I'd like to submit my report for the record. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Don Lubezuski?
You knew it had to be me as soon as you said that. I'm Dawn Lubezuski. I am the marketing assistant for Cayuga. Now I'm just share a few letters of support from our partners to highlight the vital role tourism plays in strengthening Cayuga County. Ann Hadley, a volunteer at Village Chapel since 2020, summer 2009 growth. We have 10,000 visitors a year come to the chapel, and this number is the direct result of the work of our tourism models. Yesterday, for example, I toured visitors from Texas, Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania,
Ski Atlas, New York, and a bus tour from Malone, New York, and a woman from Australia. Tourism is an important part of our community. All of us, homeowners and businesses, benefit directly from tourism. Our taxes are reduced because of it. And my question is, you want to reduce the budget that benefits us? That makes no sense to me. Leave the tourism budget alone, please. Another one is from Susan Lemlin, owner of Hardware Cafe, Turner 1816 House, and she's also the president of the Fairhaven Community Arts Center. She wrote, tourism is the essential driver keeping the village of Fairhaven a thriving community. Our restaurants, shops, lodging facilities, marinas in our community depend on the income from tourism during the summer to help us out throughout the year. Fairhaven has become a thriving village in recent years due to flourishing restaurants and shops and the development of our art community. Cayuga played a big role in helping. In the case of the Fairhaven Arts Center, the grant money received from Cayuga helped us to establish the Performing Arts Center, which shows entertainment and appeal to both tourists and residents. Cayuga delivers an outstanding level of impact, and that level of impact coincidental is the result of carefully executing programming and marketing and broad community collaboration. It is their commitment to elevating Cayuga County's unique accents from lakes to farmlands to historic and cultural sites. Another one from April Almaday, owner of In Motion Events and Empire Trail Town Committee. Member writes to us, I am writing as a small business owner in Cayuga County and as a community member of KPNY's Empire Trail Town program. The initiative is of course promoting bicycle tourism along the Erie Canal to Lemons and Fort Warren, the county police and youth sport. Small businesses depend on tourism's work, and I urge you to oppose the proposed resolution that would allocate an additional 20% to the occupancy tax. Cheryl Longyear from Montezuma, she's a town historian. 30 seconds? Okay, better than fast. Both the town of Montezuma and Old Man's Heritage Center have benefited from Cayuga's event grant program. They have enabled us to provide cultural programs for visitor experiences. In 2025, funding received for the bicentennial year for the Erie Canal and historic events celebrations were used to produce some well-attended programming. We also have a letter from Darren Rucker from Old Erie Canal Heritage Park, which I don't believe I have time to read. In conclusion, I'd like to emphasize that the tourism is not an expense but an investment.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I would like to submit. Please. Thank you. Thank you.
Lynn Sweet.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Sweet, and I'm the office administrator at the office at Cayuga. I would like to share excerpts of letters from our partners written in support of Cayuga's budget. The first one is from Sue Wavy, owner of Regenerations in Auburn. In her letter to the legislature, she wrote, every year my business and community events welcome a remarkable number of visitors from outside Cayuga County. Tourists from every corner of the United States and indeed from around the globe have come through the doors and participated in our programs. Their presence not only enriches our economy, but also brings fresh perspective and energy to our community, benefiting local restaurants, shops, farms, and service providers throughout the region. She goes on to say, moreover, tourism enriches the quality of life of residents by supporting cultural institutions, historic sites, festivals, and outdoor recreation, all of which foster pride and community spirit. The investment in tourism is a direct investment in the vibrancy and sustainability of Cayuga County. I urge you to honor the established commitment and ensure that tourism budget maintains its full 95% allocation of occupancy tax revenue. Doing so will continue to yield returns for our local economy and preserve the unique character and appeal of our county for generations to come. The next letter is from Denise Barrington, Executive Director of Booker T. Washington Community Center in Auburn. In her letter to Legislature Brian Muldrow, she wrote, tourism also contributes to something less tangible but equally important, community pride. By sharing our history and culture with visitors, we give residents a deeper sense of connection to the place they call home. The occupancy tax was designed to promote tourism, and diverting it breaks that promise, undermining the positive momentum our region has built over many years. The next letter is from Meg Golub, owner of Northville Art Center in King Ferry and board member of Tour Cayuga. In her letter to Legislator Petcher, she writes, as a small business owner located in Cayuga County, the impact of cutting the budget to Tour Cayuga would be profound. In the broad scope, sales tax generated by tourism amounted to $9 million in 2023. This can be directly attributed to Tour Cayuga's carefully executed programming, marketing, broad community collaboration, and commitment to elevating Cayuga County's unique assets, from its lakes and farmlands to its historical and cultural sites. She goes on to say, through their social media, web campaigns, tourism, education, they created greater awareness to the efforts of even the smallest businesses that enrich our county. Last letter is from William Berry, founder of Aduna. And I don't think I have time to read that, unfortunately, because it's a good one. I will thank you for allowing me to share these letters, and I would like to submit them for the record. Lastly, I personally would like to restate that in 2024, with an approximately $1 million budget, tourism brought nearly $10 million in sales tax to Cayuga County. That's a 10-to-1 return. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Katzer?
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Erin Katzker. I live in Auburn. I'm here as a proud resident of District 10. I'm also here as a representative of the Red Theater Company, where I'm the managing director, a not-for-profit organization in Cayuga County. I'm also here representing Tour Cayuga, where I'm the chair of the board of directors, another not-for-profit organization in Cayuga County. This year marks Tour Cayuga's 30th anniversary, 30 years of supporting local businesses, 30 years of positioning Cayuga County as a welcoming and inclusive place to live, work, and travel. Tourism is not just bustling cities and crowded attractions. Here it is something different. It is about connecting with local culture, sharing experiences that go beyond the ordinary. We invite travelers to immerse themselves in the daily lives of local communities, allowing them to learn, engage, and grow. We empower local people to share their stories and traditions. When visitors come to experience our local culture, they can walk in the footsteps of Harriet Tubman, William Seward, Emily Howland, Theodore Case, or any of the travelers on the Erie Canal. They're not just observers, they become part of our community and our living history. Community-based tourism is about building bridges. It connects people from all walks of life and fosters understanding, respect, and appreciation. The work that Tour Cayuga is doing is strategic and long-term. Occupancy tax continues to increase. That is not by accident. I will reiterate that in the 2024 study, we have a 10-to-1 return in sales tax revenue. That is revenue that goes right back into the infrastructure of this county, as I know that you know. That kind of return, again, does not happen by accident. It is a result of strong programming, smart marketing, and deep collaboration across our community. It is about showcasing what makes Cayuga County special, our lakes, farms, history, and culture. Tourism is not just an expense, it is a smart investment in our economy and our future. The people, businesses, and community of Cayuga County deserve to see that investment protected and allowed to grow. I respectfully ask you to vote no on this proposal and continue supporting tourism at the funding level originally outlined in the occupancy tax law. I would like to submit for the record a letter that I sent to Legislator Sargent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sean Lattimore.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean Lattimore. My wife and I have owned Springside Inn for 26 plus years. I was actually on the first tourism board back in 1994 that when we introduced the occupancy tax. Of course, it was some brand new type of tax that we were really optimistic on how things would go. It took a little while before everything started to go, but now you look at it and what an incredible revenue stream for Cayuga County, in my opinion. We have at Springside motor coach, the motor coach industry is very important for us. We had, this past week, we had 4 motor coaches, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, and New York, somewhere downstate New York. So that's a direct impact on us. So any cut into their the tourism board budget is going to have not only a direct impact, I feel, on the Cayuga County revenue. It's also going to have a direct impact on our family business because it's going to, they're not going to be able to go market to the motor coach conferences and different things like that. So I agree. Somebody mentioned tourism is not an expense, but a revenue generator. And I feel wholeheartedly that Karen and the team do such a great job, and we see it on a direct level. Like our lodging guests are coming from somebody's from Arkansas, South Dakota. Somehow they're finding out about us, and it's not always just to visit family. And my opinion is, please let the tourism keep everything that they bring in on their own anyways. Thank you.
Jacob Hamilton.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Hamilton and I am a business owner and public figure in Southern Cayuga County. As a business owner and concerned resident of the village of Moravia, and a Cayuga Tourism Board member, I have a first-hand experience of the positive impact of the tourism office's work. Marketing efforts, grant programs for local events, and support for nonprofits are essential to drawing visitors and generating economic activity throughout the county. In addition, the tourism office has worked to fill gaps within the industry. They have provided hands-on and frontline training to businesses with future plans to extend this education to our youth as staffing needs continue to arise. The Cayuga County Office of Tourism's funding, which primarily comes from the hotel tax, is a crucial investment. The multiplier effect of this investment, again, has reportedly brought in a 10-to-1 return. It's a powerful engine for local businesses and the sales tax revenue that benefits all county residents. By reallocating these funds, the county risks losing significant revenue from lost tourism, which could potentially result in higher taxes for its residents to make up the difference, many of whom are on fixed incomes. At a time when our communities need all the help they can get and national politics are directly affecting our international visitor numbers, specifically from Canada, cutting a successful, self-sustaining, and lucrative program is fiscally irresponsible and does not offer any visible gain for the county. I implore you to vote against any proposal that would reduce the tourism board's budget. Instead of cutting this vital resource, I'm urging you to continue fully funding the organization so they can continue their work and sharing all of the beauty that our county has to offer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Colleen Weigel.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Colleen Weibel, lifelong Locke and Moravia resident. I'm also a business owner for the last 16 years, and I'm the president of the Moravia Locke Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to read a couple excerpts from a letter that was sent earlier today to Chairman Anna and legislators Pesher and Straw. We're writing on behalf of the board of the Moravia Locke Chamber of Commerce and support of Tour Cayuga. We urge you to oppose the proposed resolution that would reallocate an additional 20% of occupancy tax revenue away from tourism operations and instead support maintaining the funding formula as it currently stands. As a chamber, we have worked together with Tour Cayuga to promote events in the south end of Cayuga County throughout the calendar year. The staff is very knowledgeable about our area and works hard to keep people coming back for new and varied experiences and cuisine. This proposal would significantly hinder the ability to carry out the strategic 5-year plan recently approved by the Tourism Board and the many local stakeholders that helped shape it through public input and engagement. The plan is focused on sustainable economic development, responsible tourism management, and expanding benefits to every corner of Cayuga County. As we've heard, the Tour Cayuga has a 10-to-1 return on investment. Cutting Tour Cayuga's funding now would eliminate a planned grant program designed to help local cultural and historic partners create visitor-ready experiences, likely prevent the hiring of a partner and community engagement manager, a critical role in executing the collaborative goals of the strategic plan, potentially end the production of the Cayuga County Travel Magazine, a publication that brings pride to residents and amplifies community voices for the far past the boundaries of our county. Tourism is not an expense, it is an investment. And the people, businesses, and municipalities of Cayuga County deserve to see that investment honored, protected, and grown. We respectfully ask that you vote no on this proposal and continue to support tourism at the funding level intended by the original occupancy tax law. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, President Colleen Weibel, Vice President Wade Landis, Treasurer Brittany Gleason, and Secretary Jacob Hamilton.
Thank you. Don Slocum? You're on your side. Did you wish to speak tonight? All right, I'm guessing Carl doesn't either then at this time. All right, thank you. Well, you signed in. I skipped over y'all thinking that was the case, so all right, thank you. All right, we only proclamations this evening. At this time, we have a presentation by our Chief Operation Officer, Shane Andreski. Let's go. Oh.
Chairman, and I overlooked signing in. Would it be all right if I spoke really quickly on behalf of the team?
I'll tell you what, when we have our public comments, we have privilege of the floor. I'll give you privilege of the floor here in a few minutes.
Thanks so much.
Yep, no worries.
Hi, everyone. I'm here tonight because annually we are required to provide you some training and awareness on the Cayuga County compliance plan. Everyone does have a handout, but we also have slides that you can follow along. I'll try to go through it quickly because you do have the information in front of you at the end. If you want to hold on questions and then reach out directly to me for any questions, because this is basically the training for you with the legislators. So let me begin by the Cayuga County Corporate Compliance Plan can be found on the county website. You may review it in its entirety at your leisure. There are no updates to the plan at this time. However, it is beneficial that we review some of the key components of our county compliance program, and we'd like to report a summary of our work throughout the year. So the county provides medical and health related services and receives payments from Medicare, Medicaid, and also third-party insurers. These services are provided by public health and the mental health departments, and they're known as the covered departments. So when you review the plan, those covered departments are public health and mental health. The corporate compliance plan provides a program to ensure that quality services are provided and that they fully conform to all of the applicable state and federal laws, along with the New York State healthcare programs and their regulations, such as Medicaid and Medicare. So the corporate means throughout county government. So what is the plan's purpose? To prevent, detect, and respond. So this includes the steps for internal auditing for prevention and detection, along with a reporting structure to reduce the potential for fraud and abuse through self-correction and self-reporting errors. All of this and continual training assists staff with adhering to these laws on regulations while conducting services in the highest ethical manner. So part of the compliance plan requirements is to provide this annual training to you. So just a reminder that the county compliance officer is myself, Shereen Androsco, I'm the county operations officer. The covered departments as stated are public health and mental health. The compliance officers are Kathleen Cuddy, she's the director of public health. Lauren Walsh, she's the director of mental health. and Liz Burke. And then we have Deanna Ryan, who's the Deputy Director of Public Health. We also include Richard Graham, who's the county attorney for us. But we basically work together to ensure that we're adhering to all these rules and regulations in New York State and the compliance plans. So what are the objectives of this training and reporting? Well, it's basically to know and understand what is non-compliance, what is fraud, what is abuse, and all this relative to our financial setting. We also want to review some of the key components of the compliance plan, which include how do we respond and handle required reporting of compliance complaints and or issues, and to know the right reporting, how to report non-compliance and that there is a non-retaliation, non-intimidation protection, and to review the options for reporting the non-compliance. So items we work together on as part of the county compliance program, which we basically outline in an annual work plan, are we want to improve quality and efficiency and remain consistent with our services. We want to demonstrate a strong commitment to integrity and ethical behavior. We want to identify areas of risk, provide a centralized source for distributing information on compliance itself, have consistent procedures for the plan, provide steps for correcting any actions, and we want to assure appropriate training so everyone involved understands their responsibilities. Next slide. So in our annual work plans, we discuss and work through any non-compliance issues at our quarterly meetings. So when we say non-compliance, what is it? It's any conduct that does not comply with federal laws, rules, regulations, the state laws, rules and regulations, county policies and practices, local laws, and of course the payer program requirements. It is conduct basically that fails to meet the standards required for a particular law, rule, or regulation or policy. Next slide. So moving forward, next is fraud. The definition that we go by is an intentional deception of misrepresentation made with the knowledge that deception could result in an unauthorized benefit to a provider or another person. It's the act of a person who knowingly makes the statement, a false statement, representation, or deliberate concealment of any material fact, or by impersonation of any other fraudulent device. In a county governmental setting, it would be rare to find an individual who intentionally defrauds Medicaid. But mistakes may occur and or bills may be found to not have appropriate backup, or there is an error and we make sure that they are corrected. The county is obligated to review and identify and correct any errors, of course, in a timely fashion. And failure to do so, once discovered, is deemed knowingly to submit a fraudulent claim. So that's why we stay up on it. Next slide. So just some examples of fraud is submitting false claims, offer or payment or acceptance of a bribe, a kickback or gratuity, falsifying your billing records, making false statements, and overall theft. Next slide. Next up is abuse. These are practices that are inconsistent with sound fiscal, business, medical, or professional practices, which result in unnecessary costs in the medical assistance program, results in payments for services which were not necessary, or payments for services which fail to meet the recognized standards for healthcare. Next slide. So some abuse examples would be a therapist who improperly bills for services not actually provided or rendered, and supported by their notes of every session conducted in his abuse. Could also be a therapist who did not bill for services within the specified period of time for those services, and this relates to the healthcare program regulations for Medicare and Medicaid. Next slide. So there are consequences for non-compliance. And what are they? So basically, sanctions can be imposed individually to the person. And that can include possible mandatory training or retraining. It's an oral warning or disciplinary action, which could include up to termination. Second, there's sanctions that can also be imposed against the county itself for failure to identify, for remedy, or mitigate false claims and activities. This is why we have a corporate compliance program in our committee to review and discuss any situations or improvements. It reduces the risks of these incidents. Next slide. So who is responsible for reporting non-compliance? Everyone. So basically, it is everyone's responsibility within the county, employees, vendors, business associates, you legislators, and of course, the Board of Health. The Board of Health had this training as well, which was conducted by Kathleen Cuddy and Deanna Hoynes. Right, excuse me, I always know it by them. Personnel are also required to report fraud, waste, abuse, or other improper conduct, internally. So the county creates and maintains a direct line of communication between all involved in the compliance program for this reporting. It's the compliance officer, the committee members, and you as the legislature. So again, when everyone is working together in this program, it helps prevent against any identified risks and enforces those policies related to our compliance program. Next slide. So who's our committee? Basically, the compliance officer, which is myself, the covered department's compliance officers that I have described earlier. And depending on if situations arise of non-compliance, it does include the county attorney, and it can include the chairperson of the legislature. So how does the compliance committee assist with this program and plan to keep us on track? Well, it's prevent, detect, report, and correct. So for prevention, we identify potential risks through regular reporting of the covered departments and their compliance activities. And we basically have quarterly meetings with planned agendas following an annual work plan. We list out all areas in that program and we review them regularly. Detect and report. We basically report on detected potential non-compliance. And individually, the covered departments handle this, and then they report to the compliance officer and of course quarterly to the committee. And in correction, we initiate corrective action plans, which we do document when non-compliance is detected to mitigate and eliminate risk, reduce and eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse, and potentially save money. And we have the compliance procedures to enforce that. Next slide. So there is a non-retaliation and non-intimidation because any individual who reports a compliance concern in good faith is protected, of course, by the whistleblower protection, federal, state laws. Next slide. So how do you report non-compliance? First of all, it can be reported through an individual in the covered department by an internal audit process. Other reporting options are notifying the department head or supervisor. It could actually be to the covered department compliance officer specifically, and how to contact them is provided along with myself as the county compliance officer and my telephone number. There also is an anonymous county compliance hotline that is provided, which is checked on a regular basis. And of course, they can be directly provided to the Office of the Inspector General Compliance Hotline. At this time, we are reporting our committee that our dedicated workforce are doing their jobs. We've had no compliance issues up to this point in the year, and all billing or payment refunds to report for 2025 have been identified internally and corrected to date. Next slide. So this just goes to show you an example of, we have digital boards throughout the county buildings. This just gives you an example of how it is displayed as to how to contact the compliance hotline anonymously, as well as to contact me personally. This is just what that looks like, so that it is out there. Next slide. So the county compliance program does include procedures for covered departments, as you know, as well as program guidelines. And we work very closely with Office of Medicaid Inspector General, which we basically call them OMAID. But we basically, this plan that we have for Cayuga County provides an administrative framework for addressing the areas most likely to present compliance risk. The plan includes procedures to ensure that the county and its covered departments remain compliant with all federal and state laws, rules, and regulation. And as an employee or official of the county, you are required to understand what the plan represents, the standards set forth for the county, and you have to agree to abide by it. So just to conclude, the cooperation and participation by all covered persons within the compliance program helps to ensure that our county maintains a high level of competence and ethical behavior in the delivery and billing of our services. And that's all I have.
We have the handouts, and like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me directly, I'd be happy to assist.
Thank you.
There's your annual training. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, do any members of the legislative board have anyone with the privilege of the floor? Okay, in that case, I'm gonna call upon, just when you come up to the podium, just need to state your name, and where you're from, your address and your company. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Noah Howard, and I serve as the Public Relations Manager for the Cayuga County Office of Tourism. Before I begin, I want to thank each member of the legislature for your service and for your attention to this matter. I know the decisions before you are not easy, and I appreciate the time, effort, and care you bring to your work on behalf of Cayuga County. I'm here tonight not just as a tourism professional, but as a member of this community who believes deeply in the power of what we do. Tourism in Cayuga County is not just a promotional effort. It's an engine of economic growth, job creation, and community pride. Tourism supports over 1,500 local jobs, not just in hospitality, but across many sectors. When tourism funding is cut, it's not just the front desk that feels it, it's the entire network of workers across the county. As mentioned many times earlier, the tourism industry is a powerful revenue generator. In 2024 alone, visitors spent nearly $160 million in Cayuga County. That actively produced $9.9 million in local sales tax revenue and lowered the tax burden for residents by more than $600 per household on average. A new report released just yesterday shows these earnings have grown 4.9% from the previous year, and I know we all hope that trend will continue. These are tangible results, and they reflect the steady strategic work being done by our office in close partnership with local businesses and organizations. Few other programs offer this kind of measurable return. And what we've achieved together will support this and support with the support of this legislature. But right now, we stand at a crossroads. The proposed reduction to tourism allocation would jeopardize that momentum. Programs would be lost. Marketing campaigns will go dark. Small partners, farms, shops, bakeries, historical sites, and many more will lose the support that helps them survive and thrive. This really is a moment where every dollar counts. And the dollars invested in tourism don't just count, they come back multiplied. A cut may sound like savings on paper, but in reality, it threatens to reduce millions in revenue and erode years of hard-earned growth. I urge you not to let that happen. Let's continue moving forward, not backward. Let's keep Cayuga County competitive, connected, and proud of what we've built together. Thank you again for your time and for your continued belief in our work.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amber Gansford-Dagnese. I'm on the board of directors in the head of finance. I also work at Mackenzie Childs in finance. I also have my own business, Authentically Amber. All of these things, all these businesses that we're talking about are all helped by tourism dollars. Okay, Mackenzie Childs needs those tourists. The County Office of Tourism helps get those people to us. All these people that I go and I give these tours to Mackenzie Childs, it's like how we make this play, literally are there because they heard about us. They heard about us somewhere, okay? We might have a great marketing team, but the County Office of Tourism is the marketing team for the county. And they're the main reason people are coming to this area because of all this advertising, right? I worked at hotels forever, Holiday Inn forever. Those dollars made a difference. But the Office of Tourism always went with our sales team to shows, okay? Those shows got people to come to Cayuga County, not because they just happened across it. No, literally, they heard about it and came there. When you're not making the money you want, okay, in a hotel, you really depend on the sales team to go ahead and get those dollars in for you. If you don't have the sales team, you don't get those dollars coming in because people just don't happen upon things as much as we like to think. Cayuga County Office of Tourism is your sales team. Your constituents want those dollars in their pocket. They want these people visiting. I need those people visiting because I don't have a job in Mackenzie Childs if people stop coming. I don't have a job with my own business unless there's tourism dollars coming in and people go, oh, I saw that you do charcuterie. Oh, I saw that Mackenzie Childs makes their own pottery. Oh my God, right? So coming from these years of hotels, you really have to think about when you're not doing well, do you cut your sales staff? Heck no, you do not do that. You push them, you say, hey guys, we need more money. Give us ideas. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Can we get more skiers? Okay. Can we get more bus tours to go to Springside by bringing them in and going to the Rev and talking to them and hanging out there? And then they have to eat somewhere else too, right? They're not gonna eat all meals at Springside. You can't do that, but you can try, right? So all of the places that you guys go to every day need you to not take away from those sales. They need you to actually help us be better, because if we're better, you're better. The dollars are there. The return on investment is there. It was 1 in 8 in my letter. For the record, I emailed everyone on the board. If you could please submit that. But literally 1 in 10. Okay, so every $1. Who gets that kind of return on investment? I know. I would love to. I'm working on it. But you really have to understand we're a team. Okay, we have to work together. We need the sales team to be able to continue what they're doing and grow more, because we'll do better. Thank you. Don't worry, I'm not asking for more time.
I just forgot to submit the economic impact report that we've all been referencing to that just came out yesterday from New York State.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Okay. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the July 22nd meeting.
I'll second Elaine.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a list of appointments, it's listed. I don't believe Dr. Durant's online tonight, correct?
Let's see who was.
Committee reports or individual reports, any legislators wish to add anything this evening? Vice Chairman.
Chairman, and I wanted to let folks know as a reminder that the community health survey through the public health department is out. It has been emailed to all legislators with encouragement to get it out to your constituents. Office for Aging has received a significant amount of extra farmers market coupons for the elderly, to the tune of about 600 more packets of coupons than last year. So they will be having another drive-through at Finger Lakes Mall on this Friday, August 29th. Then they will be also giving those out as well at the senior fair at Finger Lakes Mall on September 24th. And they're also giving them out regularly through some board membership volunteerism in the north part of the country, or the county. Just a few updates from community center.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to take a moment to express my, I guess, satisfaction in the county workers over the last few months. And if you look back over the last 5 years, our employees have been put through the ringer. I went to the DMV the other day, had a wonderful experience, and I've heard a lot of comments about good experiences there. Our sheriff's department, I know, is working with a lot of local school districts, getting a lot of good feedback there. I can just imagine the work that our DSS people have been doing without being in a regular office setting, and the work that they've been doing has been very difficult, and I think we've been surviving, and that's a huge thing for a county these days. I think all of our departments are really working hard. If you look at our roads, the mowing this year has been better than I've ever seen. So, you know, kudos to those folks. But why I'm bringing this up is that I continue to vote no on appointments and reappointments. And I just want to let people know that it's not personal. It's not about a department. It's about us sitting around this table. We need a direction. Over a year, about a year and a few months ago, I spoke about our financial situation. I don't see a sense of urgency. We continue to do everything as we normally do, and I don't think that's the right path. We just heard from the tourism board. They have a 5-year plan. Oh my goodness. That's kind of a normal thing for businesses. We've had the opportunity to have a 4-year plan. This is the first time the Cayuga County Legislature has had a legislature in place for 4 years. Normally it changes every 2 years. We've had the opportunity to make some plans and to fix our financial position. We still have a couple of years to do that. And I encourage every one of us to start working on that. And when we have a plan and when we have a direction, I'm more than supportive of all of our departments. But we need to move forward, folks. And if we don't, shame on us. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Strong?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Chief Ray Dyer, President Renee Strong, and all the members of the Locke Fire Department for allowing county legislators to use their facility for our monthly business meeting. Thank you.
Just want to take a moment to thank everyone who came tonight to speak out in favor of the tourism budget. I know many of you are on the tourism committee. I appreciate everything that you do for all of us. You are our sales team, as Amber pointed out. And you're doing a heck of a job, as evidenced by these new numbers that came out from ESD. And I just want to thank you for making the trek down here to be heard. I appreciate all of you. And if I could just to piggyback on that, you know, Ben brought it up and we'll probably talk about it later on, but you know, I've gotten to the point I really need to have someone shed some light on what is our big idea. I don't know what we're trying to gain by trying to take money from the tourism budget. Exactly how much that would be. What holes are you looking to plug with that? We have this quasi hiring freeze. Again, I'm not exactly sure what we're netting, what our goal is with that. And then tonight we have a resolution to authorize relocation of the 911 center that will be a cost of $1.5 million. I don't know where that's exactly coming from, besides contingency. And then how does that affect our overall bottom line? I'm unclear, and I'm a member of this legislature. So at this point, you know, I feel like we've lost time. I feel like this discussion on tourism has been a bit of a distraction for us. And I think we need to get to the greater heart of the issue and make some very important, very hard decisions.
All right, anyone else?
I guess, you know, from my point of view, this issue that's in front of us for the $1.2 million coming from the fund balance to move the 911 equipment out of the county office building, it couldn't have been clearer, and no one wants to take another 1.2 million out of our fund balance, but it couldn't have been made clearer by our IT director of the urgency and the need to get that equipment out of the building. Even if we were to rehab the building, and we're getting some information in September, I believe, from cost estimates of what we might be able to do. What we're doing is putting at risk $7 or $8 million worth of equipment if we continue to do nothing. So no, it is not ideal to take $1.2 million from the fund balance to get this on its way, but I don't know what the end result would be if we continue to take no action. And that from my point of view is why that resolution is on there tonight. And the hiring freeze, yes, we are making exceptions, but we cannot keep talking about cutting and cutting and cutting or increasing the sales tax number, exceeding the sales tax number, which I don't know how we will do if we don't. The cuts will be draconian, but we cannot continue to say to the people that we represent, let's exceed the tax cap, as arbitrary as it is, but you'll see no movement from us to do any cuts in government. None of this has been enjoyable. Absolutely, I said before, it is a lot more fun to be a county legislator when you say yes to everyone. But we have some very big, difficult decisions to make. And if you're looking at cutting the fund balance draw to 3.9 million, it's going to be interesting to see how we get there.
Anyone else, Mr. Strong?
I'd like to address the issue of backup 911 center. Our county is operated on, I guess, a shoestring backup 911 center for probably a year since the county office building was closed, due to the fact that we cannot access the 911, the backup 911. Last Friday, we had an power emergency. We lost power to our some of our systems at the 911, the main 911 center. We lost the internet. Doesn't allow our law enforcement folks to access their records. And the backup generator failed. Battery issues, no maintenance. There could be several reasons as to why it failed. But for everybody that thinks that it's never gonna happen here, well, it does happen here. And the backup system that we designed, built, and hopefully never had to use, well, we needed it and it didn't work. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to the taxpayers of this county. I sat here today and listened to all these folks talk about tourism and all that stuff. We'll never have a good tourism program if you don't have public safety. And the public safety depends on our backup system to our 911 center. Everybody knows the 911 center is the heartbeat of any city, county, state. And if we don't have that, we don't have a lot. So I encourage everybody to support the $1.2 million to move the backup system to Auburn Fire. It's vital to our existence in this county. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Brian has his hand raised.
Yes, Mr. Legislator Mulville.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
I took the earbuds off, so if you hear any feedback in the background, I apologize. I agree to moving the 911 center, but I also want to encourage all legislators that, I do believe that there is plans of doing the budget, hiring freeze, those conversations are happening. We're all working diligently on it, but if anybody has any ideas or any suggestions, we are elected to make those decisions, and please come forth with them. I don't want to become a legislative body in this time of need where we're pointing fingers at each other rather than working together. And that's going across party lines as well. So if anybody has an ideal, instead of saying there's nobody that came up with an idea, well, maybe you should come up with an idea. And we can together we can figure out this budget together, because we are working very hard on doing that. And I do not want to give that message to the people and to our county employees that we're not working diligently trying to figure out how to get out of this financial crisis. We are working on it, and any suggestions are welcome. They're welcome to call every individual, and they're also welcome to suggest them right on the floor. So thank you.
All right, for the sake of time, then I'm gonna run my chair's report. I have some comments on 911, but I'll hold them to the discussion as far as the resolution is concerned. So we start our United Way kickoff and campaign has begun. I want to thank all the county employees we had that came out on our day of caring. We had nearly 20 county employees participate in the day of caring. That's where you volunteer your time to do work with United Way, including our chief operations officer. I'd like to thank our elected officials who joined me on the day of caring, Vice Chair Mettier, Legislator Winslow, and Sheriff Skank. Thank you for joining me on the day of caring. Cayuga Gold held a picnic in the park this month to recognize the hard work and dedication of our employees. We had over 150 reservations providing lunch in the park. We also ensured that those who couldn't make it to the park were also provided with lunch. I'd like to thank Legislators Nightingale and Winslow for transporting meals to those that weren't able to make it to the park. And I just want to ensure this luncheon was funded with commissions from the vending machines of their own money, from the employees' money. So this was not used with county funds. This came from commissions of vending machines. I'd like to congratulate Sue Fiducia from the Sheriff's Office for being the first recipient of the first quarter Cayuga Gold Recognition Award. Thank you, Sue, for your dedication to Cayuga County and the Sheriff's Office. We had a department head meeting this month in August. Shireen presented updates for county policies. Our county operations team is in the process of reviewing updating county policies, and this work continues. On September 4th, I will be traveling to Rochester, New York, to meet with our project manager team at Campus Project Management. The purpose of this meeting is to review the information and presentation regarding 160 Genesee Street. This will provide an opportunity for feedback regarding the scope of work prior to the presentation of the full legislature. A special meeting will be held in September for campus to present their findings, allowing this legislative board the information to make an informative decision regarding the future of our county office building. And lastly, this is just a little one, not a big deal, but my son and I went to the fair yesterday. And I was very proud to see Cayuga County represented throughout the fair. Unfortunately, I made it on a day where they're transitioning, so the animal barns were empty because they were coming and going, and I missed out on that. But I will say that we visited the youth building and got to see the 4-H displays from the folks and the kids from Cayuga County. And we visited the milk bar, which, if you don't know, is actually run by Cornell Cooperative Extension of Cayuga County. And I'd like to thank Dan and his team for their excellent work they do with the milk bar. And the kids were great. And my son, I drink a lot of chocolate milk. So thank you very much, guys. Great job out there. It was great to go to the fair and see Cayuga County well represented. So we enjoyed that. With that said, let's begin with Ways and Means and WM1.
Yes, Ways and Means had 4 resolutions this month. I'll go through them, and if anyone wants any separated, we can certainly do that. Authorize the finance director to accept adult use cannabis sales tax. This resolution allows adjustments to be made to the 25 budget to recognize some revenue that will be coming in that wasn't budgeted for and put a line for expenses against it. My understanding that this $175,000 will be coming in. That's an estimate for the year. There'll be quarterly payments, and 75% of that will end up going to the city of Auburn where the dispensaries are.
I'll move that one.
Second. Any discussion on WM1? All in favor of WM1?
Aye.
Any opposed?
WM2 is authorized the purchase of tax foreclosed property owned by Cayuga County. For the policy, I believe these particular parcels are being resold back to the prior owners. Being recommended by Real Property to move forward with this resolution.
First, second. That first, second, thank you. Any discussion on WM2? All in favor of WM2?
Aye.
Any opposed?
WM3 is to amend the resolution 188-25 and implement the extension of hiring restrictions until October 31st. I went through that resolution at Ways and Means, went over the added exemptions that are part of this resolution to get us through November 1st. There certainly are exemptions in there, but there are just as many positions that are remaining vacant until the November 1st deadline. I ask for a motion for WM3.
I'll second.
Any discussion on WM3? Without further discussion, all in favor of WM3?
Aye.
And WM4.
Opposed.
WM4 is the reappointment of Jennifer Indelicato as the Director of the Cayuga County Real Property Services Department. It would be a 6-year appointment. The salaries moved for the first 3 with the notation that the last 3, there would be reevaluation midterm.
I'll move WM4.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Vitale.
I'd like to make an amendment to that to increase the pay to 95,000 and the 3-year adjustments. It would be just for an annual review.
Second that.
We have a first and a second on a amendment. Discussion on the amendment. Okay. Without discussion on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed to the amendment?
Aye.
Then it fails. We're back to WM4 as an amended. We have a first and a second for WM4 as unamended. Any further discussion on WM4 as it is?
If you don't mind. I had the privilege of working with Jennifer Indelicato over the many years when I was chair of the legislature. She's done an outstanding job for us. A lot of what she does is very much behind the scenes. She keeps us out of a lot of legal battles. She does a lot of work that is very complicated. State statutes change, software changes. She has a staff that she does an incredible job supervising. You don't hear a lot of complaints from the office. She's done an incredible job. I am, understanding we're under this fiscal stress and understanding that we are at this quasi hiring freeze and trying to kind of piece all of this together. As we've seen over the years, our staff and our department heads are incredible resource. We need to do everything we can to ensure that they stay with us. And I think that Ben had a really great idea to change this resolution. I only hope that we could adopt it. I will be voting no on the resolution as it stands, and that by no means has any indication in it that I have any displeasure with Mrs. Indelicato. Quite the contrary.
Any further discussion? Legislator Knight.
I would just like a recap on the movement to the new start at 83,925. I know we have some.
Diane, I don't believe
Diane here.
Diane is not here, I don't believe, but when I spoke with Diane about this, the initial motion was to get her to 100% of market. And that's what the 83,925 did, is get her at reappointment to 100% of the market. And then the movement was, instead of capping her there and leaving no movement for the rest of the 5 years, there was discussion about moving the salary out for 3 years, a little over $2,000 each year. But that 83,925 is representative of 100% of market based on the comp study that was done. Sure where the 95,000 comes from, but that's how this was drafted.
And then the 88s, at our last meeting, I believe, or one of our discussions, Mr. Vitale mentioned they didn't like making decisions that would last for the entire legislature moving on. So we made this for a 3-year term. If we revisit it after the 88,174 adjustment. Mr. Vitale.
I guess the question is, when was the comp study done? My understanding is probably 2 or 3 years ago.
It was done in 24.
And to date, I don't think this full legislature has gotten the full report.
Nope, and it's planned, I believe, for September.
I guess I'm done talking. Thank you.
No, they're in the process of updating it. It was in a rough draft, basically. And to your point, it was done in 24, so there's a reevaluation ensuring that those numbers are correct. And that should be done prior to budget time. That's my understanding from talking to Lynn and Diane. I spoke to Lynn about it again today.
To reiterate, the fact that, we didn't get a copy of that report, and it's just going on the fact that it's met some sort of market rate. I don't why can't we see the information, first of all? Second of all,
You
then
can
let's
see the
break down the
information.
market rate even further, what are we comparing this to? And if we've gone up over and above for other people.
Any other discussion? If you'd like to see a report, I'm sure Diane can check a copy of it. I don't have the updated one, the one she's currently working on, I have the original report that was issued in 24 that I didn't know was out there till January when I became the chair. Anyone else? All in favor of WM4? Oh, aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
WM4 is moved. Before we move on, I'd like to, just again, we have a public hearing. If you'd like to speak to the public hearing, the number is 315-294-8051. 315-294-8051. If you wish to speak on the public hearing on local law imposing a tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms or short-term rentals pursuant to chapter 533 of these laws of the 1994 state of New York. Public hearing is also on the formation of proposed County Sewer District Number 3. Do you have anybody here who wishes to speak on the public hearing? Anybody spoke? We will move on. Legislator Nightingale.
Thank you, Chairman, and the Health and Human Services Committee reviewed 13 resolutions. Of those 13, 3 were referred to the legislative meeting. 2 have since been added as a result of discussions at Ways and Means and the addition of Ways and Means 3 on this agenda. So there are a few things I'd like to bundle. Before I do that, though, I'd like to look at HH1 individually, which is authorizing the public health director to reimburse the sheriff's department and the county attorney's office for services provided. The total amount of professional services comes to $59,222.03, with $49,835 of those going to our sheriff's department and $9,394 going to our county attorney's office for services rendered during and for a public health related issue. The monies have been made available through Article 6 of the public health law, and therefore there was just some changes that Lynn helped us and the public health department with in terms of their budgeting in order to pull down that Article 6 eligibility. So I'd like to ask for a motion for HH1.
I'll move HH1. A second.
All right, well, first and second for HH1, discussion on HH1. Without further discussion, all in favor of HH1?
Aye.
Opposed?
I would like to look at HH2 and HH9. Both of these are accepting funds. One is for the Department of Social Services, bringing in 100% of federal funding from the Flexible Fund for Family Services. This will aid the Department of Social Services in helping to work with TANF families, particularly in employment securement. And then HH9 is also accepting funds from state OMH, Office of Mental Health, for the mobile crisis program. This is money that the mental health department did not know was going to be available to them. So looking for authorization to accept that so that then it can be placed again toward our 2025 budget for the mobile crisis.
All right, we have a bundle of HH2 and HH9.
I'll move it.
Second.
We got first and second on the bundle, discussion on the bundle of 2 and 9. Without further discussion on 2 and 9, all in favor? Any opposed?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to bundle HH3, HH5, HH6. And all three of these are, involve entering into contracts. Contracts which are seasonal and, typical for our Department of Social Services and, one includes working with Seneca Youth Action Program for our state mandated 100% federally funded HEAP program. The other is also working with social services to enter into a contract with Northwoods, which provides software. Northwoods is the only agency that does provide this software. It's software that complies with what we need to do to connect with state services and what we currently need to do to meet mandates in our Department of Social Services. And then also to again work with Cayuga Seneca Action Agency to contract with them for rapid rehousing case management services.
I get a motion for the bundle of 3, 5, and 6. You got first? Second, thank you. Discussion on 3, 5, and 6. I did ask about HH5, but it is a sole provider on the software, so that is one company that provides those services. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the bundle?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Again, I'd like to bundle, and this time it would be HH4, HH7, HH10, and HH11. All of these are bills. All of these have gone through the personnel committee. They are bills that also meet our current exemption policies. So I'm looking for HH4, HH7, HH10, and HH11.
4, 7, 10, 11. First and second. Yep, do I have a second? Second. Discussion on 4, 7, 10, 11. Mr. Strong.
All these positions are currently funded in the budget, I assume.
They are currently funded in this year's budget, that is correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd actually like to pull HH7 from that bundle.
Okay. With a motion for standing.
Do you want 4,
4, 10, and 11.
Is there any objections to pulling 7 from the bundle? Without any objections, 7 is pulled from the bundle. We will have now a new bundle of 4, 10, 11.
I'll move that.
I think we're good on the new one. We're just pulling 1.
Yep.
So, all right, discussion on 4, 10, 11. Without further discussion, all in favor of 4, 10, 11.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
HH7, HH12, and HH13, I would like to bundle. These were all discussed in committee, but referred on to the legislative meeting following decisions that were made at Ways and Means and then finalized here at the full legislative meeting. These are fills. All of them are bills that meet the requirements of the exceptions in Ways and Means 3 that was moved.
I get a motion for 7, 12, and 13.
I'll second.
All I will add for HH 12 that you've noticed this is the filling of a social services investigator, and we're abolishing a senior services investigator and a part-time social services investigators. That was something the committee worked with Department of Social Services to abolish 2 positions and fill 1. Yeah, so I want to thank the Department of Social Services for their willingness to work with us. Mr. Strong?
HH 4 is authorizing the social service commissioner to fill the supervising social services investigator. What's the difference between that?
Between which?
That and
Now
12.
and 12. The social services investigator in 4 they're both involved in investigation of fraud, Medicaid fraud, and they're both related to the requirements in those areas.
Well, they're abolishing, on 12, they're abolishing the social service investigator.
Wants a supervising investigator. That was in the original resolution for the exceptions.
4 is a
Supervising.
and the other one that are abolishing senior social
Yep.
services investigator. So senior social investigator is not supervised, not supervised.
No, just a question wrong. So, number 4, the full resolution, hopefully for clarity. The supervising social services investigator within the DSS integrity case unit is funded and vacant due to a retirement that was effective 4/26/25. And whereas the position is responsible for the supervision of the case integrity unit, as well as carrying a caseload of fraud investigations for the Department of Social Services. And whereas the case integrity unit is mandated to investigate SNAP and Medicaid cases for fraud. And whereas the funding for the supervising social services investigator exists in the 2025 Department of Social Services budget. And whereas positions in the case integrity unit of the Department of Social Services are minimally 52% reimbursed. And whereas the supervising social service investigator position was reviewed by the Personnel Committee, now therefore it be resolved that the Personnel Committee granted permission to submit the position of supervising social services investigator to the full legislature for consideration. And that the authorization to fill be valid through December 31st, 2005. And it again reinforces the 2% reimbursement. Number 12, or number 12.
Different control numbers. They're different control numbers. You look on HH 4, it's the position number is 2260. HH 12 is 2204. The positions being abolished at 4390 and 7042.
Would you like any of it?
Any other discussion? Well, without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And finally, I would like to bundle HH 14, HH 15. These were added to this agenda for the same reasons that they were positions that were reviewed August 5th through the Personnel Committee and went forward. There are also positions that are 100% federally funded with benefits, so they meet that portion of the new exemptions list.
How do you still have HH 8?
Bundle for 14 and 15. I get a first and second. Second. Any discussion on 14 and 15? Without discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
And HH8,
And HH8 is amending the mental health 2025 budget to adjust state aid funding for contracted agencies. Essentially what is happening with HH8, and why I did not bundle this with anything else, is that we received an additional dollars, unexpected and unbudgeted, to be used through or to serve families, children with disabilities who reside in Cayuga County. And the additional state aid has been allotted according to the adjusted budget to agencies that include and have been receiving these outside contracted monies and services, Cayuga Counseling Services, Mixed Ride, Veterans, Liberty Resources, Unity House, Cayuga Home, and Shad, and again, Unity House, all different programs. So it was extra money that was not budgeted, received from the state, sort of a nice surprise, and needed to be accepted into the budget as aid for funding to these contract agencies.
Chairman, I'll move it. All right, second.
A second.
All right, discussion on HH8? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Who's Brian, who's presenting for you tonight? Are you doing it or is he then?
Hey, John, did you call me?
Yeah, are you gonna present your resolution slide or?
You know what, John, I tried to do a split screen on my computer and it logged me up. Can you read the resolution? Can you present them for me or?
I'll take care of it for you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, GO1, authorizing the chairman of the legislature of and the commissioner of the Cayuga County Board of Elections to sign a contract extension for the various New York State DOE grants. You have listed in front of you.
I'll move that.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of GO1?
Aye.
GO3 is amending the Cayuga County vehicle policy. Can I get first and second?
I'll move that as well.
Second, the policy was attached along with the resolution packet. Any discussion on the? Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This time, I just want to, again, we have a public hearing. 315-294-8051, if you wish to speak to the public hearing. Public hearing on local law imposing a tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms or short-term rentals pursuant to chapter 533 of the laws of the 1994 of the state of New York. And we also have a public hearing on formation of proposed county sewer district number 3. Anyone remaining who would like to speak to the public hearing? Public Works, legislator,
Planning first.
Planning.
Oh, skip planning. Sorry, Bob.
Well,
it's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning has 4 resolutions. The first one authorizing the Director of Employment and Training to accept Perkins funding. Move it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. PL2 is awarding the contract for grant funding consultant services for the Cayuga County Brownfield Opportunity Area Pre-Planning Grant awarded through New York State Department of State. Move it.
Right, that second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you. PL3 authorizing the replacement of carpeting in 2 conference rooms at the Ward O'Hara Agricultural Museum. Move it. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. PL4 was amended at Ways, award the contract for installation of charging stations at Emerson Park through the Clean Energy Community Grant Program from New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, NYSERDA. Upon 3298, and the amended part of it was for accounting purposes, indicating the accounts where the money is coming from and going to.
I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Public Works has one resolution that went through committee. I'd like to present PW1, and that's for more or less expanding the contract for cleaning services to 4 of our county buildings. Currently have a contract with this company, and I think we're just expanding it.
Can I get a motion?
I go on.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Karen, PW 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all were referred to this ledge meeting. If somebody would like to make a motion for them.
I'll motion bundle 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Second the bundle.
We have first and second on bundle 2, 3, 4, and 5, discussion on the bundle. No discussion on the bundle, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One. Legislator Winslow.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judicial Public Safety has a total of 7 resolutions that went through committee. Start with JP1. Authorizing the chairperson of the legislature to sign a contract with Land Tech Security and Automation for the installation of security cameras at the 911 tower sites and 911 center for security and loss prevention purposes. This would require a 2/3 vote out of fund balance.
Can I get a motion in a second?
Move it. Mark.
Second.
Discussion. It's my understanding this is required federally. Is this a mandated cost?
As far as for the security of the sites, correct?
That's required by the federal government, my understanding. And these funds weren't budgeted and this camera system been down for a while.
They weren't budgeted, was, I guess, originally understood that grant money was gonna cover this, which was not the case. The budget director sent out where the money is coming from and showed it on the spreadsheet as to which line items it will be coming from.
Was this a failure of equipment that was unexpected? I mean, there were cameras there and they failed, have to be replaced. So I don't know how you would have predicted to budget for that, but at this point, they do have to be replaced, to your point.
They've been down for, I'm not sure how long they've been down for.
Oh,
but They've
okay.
been down for a little while.
Oh, all right.
Any other discussion? Now, this will take a 2/3 vote because it is asking to take money from fund balance. All right, let me put to a vote. Let's do a roll call vote.
Just point of clarity, my understanding is this has to be done.
That's my understanding. That's the impression I'm under. It's federally mandated.
Ben Vitale,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel,
Yes.
Bob Shay,
Yes.
Aileen McNabb Coleman.
Yeah.
Hans Petcher,
Yes.
Mark Strong,
Yes.
Heidi Nightingale,
Yes.
Elaine Daly,
Yes.
Amy Sargent,
Yes.
Brian Muldrow. Brian?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
And I'll be a yes.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yes, sir. All right, pass. JP2.
JP2, I was previously asked to separate these by legislators, so I'll separate JPs 2 and 3. JP2 authorizing the legislature to create 3 budgeted emergency services help positions in the 911 center.
Move it. Mark.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
JP3, authorization to fill a vacant emergency services dispatcher position in the 911 center.
Move it. Mark.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
JP4, authorizing the chairperson of the legislature to sign a contract with Pulsar and Jackal, P&J Corporation for the maintenance of the HVAC units at the 911 tower sites.
I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
JP five, authorizing the chair of the legislature to sign a contract with Motorola Solutions to provide computer-aided dispatch, CAD, mapping, records management systems, and mobile services to support the operational needs of all public safety agencies in Cayuga County. Again, this is 2/3 vote. This has come out of contingency, and there was, I guess, discussion as to whose budget this was going to come out of. Ultimately ended up coming out of the 911 budget versus the IT budget. That's how it fell under JPS.
Move it.
Second. Discussion.
Just a quick question, I just don't have it in front of me. Can you remind me how much it is we're talking about here?
I have it right here.
$188.
Yeah, it's, it is necessary to transfer $180,000 from contingent account listed to IT software account for this purpose, and now therefore be, the chair of the legislature is hereby authorized to sign all agreements, contracts, and other documents associated with Motorola Solutions for $900,000, $180,000 annually for the period of October 1 through September 2030. And may be further, the sum of $180,000 be transferred from contingent account to IT software account for this purpose in the resolution, and be it further, the county finance director make all necessary general accounting to establish this moving forward. Is the system currently working?
Denise?
I didn't hear what he said.
For JP five, system currently working.
Yeah, absolutely, it's online 24/7. It's
Right.
used by all of our police, fire, and EMS agencies, and 911. It's kind of the hub of everything, the CAD is the hub of everything.
But this is just a renewal of the system we're already using, is that correct?
That's correct.
And this wasn't budgeted for this year?
This was a grant for a 7-year period, so this will be the first time that we've actually budgeted for this.
And it expires on October 1st,
It does.
and we didn't plan for it. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Yes, and we'll do a roll call for 2/3.
Ben Vitale.
Aye.
Tom Winslow.
Aye.
Bob Shay.
Aye.
Aileen Coleman.
Aye.
Hans Fetcher.
Yes.
Mark Strong.
Yes.
Heidi Nightingale.
Aye.
Elaine Daly.
Yes.
Amy Sargent.
Yes.
Brian Boldrow.
Yes.
Jonathan Hammond.
Yes.
Yes.
Mark, I figured we were all gonna vote for it.
Yeah, I know, I don't know what.
Go raise your hand.
Yeah, I know.
JP six, authorizing the sheriff to fill one vacant deputy sheriff position in the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office.
Move it, Mark.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. And JP seven, authorize the sheriff to fill 3 vacant deputy sheriff custody positions in the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office.
Move it, Mark.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
JP8, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, authorizing the chairperson of the legislature and Cayuga County Stop DWI coordinator to enter into an agreement with Finger Lakes Local Media to promote the Cayuga County Stop DWI program.
Move it. Second, Mark.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This time, I'd like to close the public hearing. Close the public hearing on local law imposing a tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms and short-term rentals pursuant to chapter 533 of the laws of 1994 of the state of New York. And close the public hearing on formation of proposed county sewer district number 3. That said, we'll move on to resolutions. Yes,
I know it's been a long meeting, but may I request a brief copy?
you may. We will be going to caucus. I need a motion and a motion to publish the caucus. We just recessed, we'll be recessing for coffees.
Can you go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
We don't get you.
All of our items. Yeah, so that over there.
Yeah, how is it?
Let's all sit here and watch Hans eat.
All right. We left off with Ledge 1, a resolution to allow local law for year 2025, the local law to amend and restate local law number 3 for year 94 period after as amended. Can I get a first and a second for the session?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second for the session? Second to Mr. Petrie. All right, discussion on Ledge 1.
Chair, if you could, review it for us.
Yes, you want the reading of the entire law?
No, just highlights.
What would you, the highlights? To put this in a summary, the local law, there's a few changes. It's actually a reorganization of the language or changes of the language. Change the verbiage and the definitions to support, I don't want to say Airbnbs, short-term rentals, that's the term. So there's language in the bill to upgrade it for short-term rentals, there's not.
Isn't this the 1%? This is the 1% here.
No,
I think that was true.
That's why I wanted to clarify.
Number 1 is the 1%. No?
Let's choose the one.
So
So ledge 1 is the occupancy tax, ledge 2 is the 1% sales tax extension, if that helps.
Who says occupancy of hotel rooms?
Yeah, it's all of the tangible goods.
Okay, so it's all, all right, this is,
Two separate taxes.
okay.
I'm sorry.
You have to read them, it's just
Sorry,
like,
yeah.
confusion.
it was very
Sorry.
confusing.
Sorry for
I
the
know.
confusion. No, this is the occupancy tax as discussed, the 20%,
Thanks, Tom.
the change of the verbiage. Yes.
can you review the percentages that are proposed in this?
So currently, the percentages, according to the local law as introduced, would be 75% to Cayuga, 5% for administrative fee, and 5%, and I have an amendment, after we get moving here, that will actually change the language to be deposited in the Parks Capital Reserve and utilized for park capital projects.
What was that? I think you misspoke the last percent.
Yeah.
5 to
It's 5,
treasurer.
5 and 20, makes some, it'd be a 75, 25 split, 70, 20 and 5, right? I'm sorry, misspoke.
Yeah, you said 5 and 5.
Been a long night, Mark, long day. Discussion.
When we vote, I
Yes.
press the roll call when we vote.
Yep, when we vote, we will, yes, please.
So if I could, we had discussion, right? Okay.
Yeah, own discussion.
So as I've said before, I've said it privately, I've said it, said it at the table here. This money that we would be taking from tourism is such a, to me, a small amount when we have $192 million operating budget that we passed for the 25 year fiscal year. And we're looking at $200,000 from this budget. Now, I've heard this organization be criticized for what they have in the fund balance. I've heard them be criticized for, how are they gonna spend? They of course can move on, without this little bit. Will they be crippled? No. But all of us sitting here, as much as we want to think that we're ambassadors, we're not really doing the job. They're doing the job. And as somebody said, people don't come here on accident. People don't stumble on Lock, New York or Sterling, New York. They're told, and these folks have made sure that the word gets out about how great Cayuga County is far and wide. I was like in New Jersey last summer. There's a Tour Cayuga pamphlet. I'm in Pennsylvania on the way home, same trip, Tour Cayuga pamphlet. Like, this is not an accident. These folks have done an outstanding job. I want to see them continue to be our ambassadors, continue to be our sales agents. I think at the end of the day, it's our problem here that our operating budget has loomed large. It's our problem that we don't have the expenses to cover. We have this built up deficit. I don't think that going through this trouble is going to really make a difference in our deficit. We need to lose an appendage in the county. We don't need a haircut, or we don't need to steal from other people. So I think that even proposing this is not good timing. What I have said is that if we have done a number of measures, serious measures, and made some really tough decisions, and we needed a little bit more to, plug the hole for the deficit to meet the delta, so that we didn't raise taxes, I would consider this at some point. But right now, I'm a no on this.
Anyone else?
I actually, want to just reiterate that any funds, whether it's $200,000 a year, year after year after year, would have some impact on saving, reducing county expenses if we're going to target it towards parks and the capital improvements that are needed. I see this as one of the first of many difficult decisions we're going to have to make. And as we look at these funds, well, actually, I do see this as one of the difficult decisions we were made, but there are very much tonight some compelling presentations about positive effects of tourism. I would entertain a motion to reduce the draw to the county from 20% to 10%. It still would allow some funds to come into the county to offset some of the expenses that our county has, but not out of the gate. 20% reduction. It would then end up being a 10% reduction to the funding that comes to tourism. I'd like to make that as an motion to amend this resolution.
We have a motion to amend to reduce the percentage from 20% to 10%. Can I get a second? I'll make the second for discussion. Any
So-
discussion on the amendment?
So I'll go back to the same point I made before, except for instead of 200,000, it's 100,000. And again, there's a strategic plan involved. There's an incoming executive director. They have plans, they have 5-year plans. They are ready to go to continue doing the good work they have been doing. I don't know that, I know every dollar counts. I understand that completely, but we have not been doing the work in 2025 to change the outcome at budget time to date. I just want to.
Anyone else? Legislator Nightingale.
I want to say that, in simple terms, we'll probably all understand what this means. But I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I see the work of the tourism board and what tourism does for this county as important as agribusiness in terms of the number of people who are employed and the tax dollars that we do then receive our percentage from. Not the occupancy tax, but the tax dollars that come into us. And I want to highlight that with what seems like a random story. We heard plenty of things. But last summer, I was very surprised when I saw on social media that a couple who just last fall got married on Jersey Shore. Both members of the couple were from New Jersey, lifelong. They each had their bachelor and their bachelorette party here in Cayuga County in one of these countryside Airbnbs and spent the weekend going to wineries. And so they did their research and they ended up, there's a group of 14 people, ended up for a long weekend having spent a lot of money on this bachelor and bachelorette party alongside one of our lakes in an Airbnb. So it's not They didn't just find this randomly. We are being marketed. We are being helped by this organization. And the help that they bring in are those tax dollars from not the occupancy tax, for instance, in this example, the Airbnb, but all the money they spent at the winery, all the money they spent going to Wegmans or Tops or the restaurants in the area. And that's just a random example of seeing this on social media.
All right, yes, Mr. Fletcher.
I have some problems with understanding how the sales tax people can tell us exactly how much money is spent on tourism. When you go into McDonald's or whatever, how do they know that you're a tourist or not? How do they track this revenue? So I doubt very much that the figures that we're getting mean anything. We go through the same thing with deer hunting. The state does a survey afterwards, goes to the butcher shops, etc., counts the carcasses that have been delivered, and that's a percentage of the number. Then they give us a deer count, how many deer were killed, and it has very little to do with accuracy. It's a guess at what it is, and I think that's what we're talking too about the sales tax money coming in. In the past, we've tried to get information from the Department of Taxation on some other breakdowns, and we couldn't get any. So I doubt the figures, and I'm going to vote no on that basis.
So I will say this, the 9-to-1 ratio is my understanding came from a 2023 Oxford study. And I'm not sure if ESD is using those figures. I did reach out to Grace and Lynn, our finance and budget director, to determine if the county was able to determine the percentage of sales tax dollars that are contributed to tourism. The county does not have any way to distinguish what sales tax dollars come from where. I also want to state that out of that 9-to-1, or today they spoke about a 1-to-10 ratio, that's based upon the 8% sales tax. And half of that goes directly to the state of New York. We only keep 4%. And out of that 4%, we split 50% with the towns, leaving us with 2%. And we don't collect out of the city of Auburn. The county gets 0 sales tax from the city of Auburn. So I believe our return is actually closer to under $2 per one, if there is such a return that is that's based. The purpose of this change in local law this was something that came from me, and I'll take responsibility for it right here. The purpose of this change in local law is to provide funding for capital projects within our parks and trails throughout the county. We have park buildings and trails that are in need of work, and they represent one of the reasons people visit our county. The funding is currently not within our budget and hasn't been. And due to the fiscal pressures we are facing, currently Cayuga keeps 95% of the occupancy tax. Under this new law, they would still retain approximately 75%, with the amendment 85% of funds. By the way, I do believe they do a great job. It was never the intention to handcuff them. It was never the intention to cripple them. It was never the intention to really impede what they do, but reinvest within the beautification of our county and with the tourism sites that people visit, whether it's the Sterling Nature Center, Emerson Park, our parks and trails that are in desperate need, our trail system in desperate need of care. And yet these are projects that continue to go unbudgeted year after year. And the more for me, it was about reinvesting in ourselves with outside tourism dollars. As Tour Cayuga invests in us through their work, we can invest in ourselves as well. And I looked over the course of the last few years, and in 2019, they brought in $615,000. In 2020, they brought in $578,000. Now, granted, 2020 was COVID years. 2021, as they recovered from COVID, $873,000. In 2022, over $1 million. In 23, $1.1 million. And in 24, just shy of $1.2 million. And I think I also think that's a testament of the work they do. But I also asked the question of, as they continue budgeting, where's the return on the dollar as far as its peak? And at the end of the day, I do not believe that even 10% is going to impede their operation. And I believe we can, still support our tourism in that area. Our board, I just want to make it clear, our board does strongly support tourism. And as we look to improve our budget, finding non-local dollars that can support local infrastructure, I believe is important, which is why I specifically made the law to have those dollars back into the park system as well. So that's just where I came from, so people can have my perspective of it and the reason it was brought up. And this was not to do harm to Cayuga or our tourism industry, so I can make that clear. Anyone else? So we have a motion to amend to go from 20 to 10%.
I don't believe they got a second.
I seconded it for discussion, so it is on the table. And we will vote on it. All in favor of the amendment to go from 20% to 10%? I'll go with it. All opposed? So that amendment fails. I'm gonna make I'm gonna request a second amendment. You all have a handout in front of you. And on the first page, or at the very bottom, the last sentence says, the balance of this annual revenue for social tax 20% shall be, and from the shall be moving forward, you'll see in red, it says utilized by the county for historical development and cultural programs, parks and recreation, beautification and maintenance of facilities, infrastructure, and capital improvements necessary to support those services. Then the change of language is to eliminate the letters in red and to insert the following statement: deposited into the parks capital reserve and utilized for park capital projects. And that's the highway park I'd like to replace. Can I get a motion and a second for that amendment?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion on that amendment, or just no discussion on that amendment? All in favor of that amendment? Aye. Any opposed to that amendment? So moves. All right. So the resolution passes. So now can I get a motion? Yeah. So I need a first and a second for the amendment as amended. I got a first, I have a second, Mr. Shea. Discussion on the amendment as amended.
Are you doing the resolution as amended?
The resolution is amended, I misspoke. Any discussion on the resolution as amended?
I just point of clarity, the amendment includes the change in the capital reserve, the parks capital reserve language. And that's all that's been amended.
Correct.
The amount at 20%.
The 20% amendment to 10 failed, and right now the only amendment that is currently on this amended bill is the depositing of the parks capital reserve and utilized for park capital projects. Any further discussion?
Did Mr. Vitale ask for a roll call vote?
Yes, we're gonna roll call vote, just making sure we have no further discussion before we begin.
I'm sorry, is it on the amendment or the actual 20%? I just want to make sure.
No, the 20% is written already in the legislation, in the resolution. So the amendment that was proposed to change the percentage from 20%.
We'll vote on the amendment and then the resolution.
So the 20% to 10 failed.
Yeah.
So then I made a second amendment. I made amendment proposal and it passed for the depositing the parks capital reserve and utilized for park capital projects. That is the resolution we are currently voting on. No further comments? Okay, roll call vote.
Ben Vitale?
No.
Tom Wenzel?
No.
Bob Shay?
Yes.
Aileen McDevitt Coleman?
No.
Hans Petcher?
Second about it. Yes.
Mark Strong?
Yes.
Heidi Nightingale?
No.
Elaine Daly?
Yes.
Amy Sargent?
No.
Brian Muldrow?
No, he wasn't. He's not. He was
Jonathan Anna?
I'll vote yes, but it doesn't matter. It's defeated. The resolution is defeated. And we will move on to the next one. Pledge 2, increase the rate of taxes on sales and use of tangible personal property and of certain services and on the occupancy of hotel rooms, amusement charges pursuant.
I'll move it.
Article, thank you.
I'll second, please.
That's our sales tax.
Yep.
Can I get a second? Yes, Mr. Shea. We have a first and a second for sales tax. Any discussion? All in favor of our sales tax?
Aye.
Any opposed? Pledge 3, authorize information of county sewer district number 3. Can I get a first and a second?
Move it. I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor of pledge 3?
Aye.
Opposed? Move. Authorize appointments to various board and agencies. I'm gonna offer an amendment.
Get it on the floor.
Oh, can I get a first and a second for it?
Second.
The amendment's gonna be for CNY net, which is the LDC with the regional planning board for the broadband.
I'm sorry, what are you amending?
I'm amending the resolution for various boards. I'm
Okay,
adding 2
four,
names.
okay.
For ledge 4. It's for CNY net, CNY net, which is our LDC for the regional planning of the broadband project. I'm gonna offer up Elaine Daly and Robert Shea. And they will be serving a term of 1 year with an expiration from 8/27/25 with an expiration date of 8/31/25. This is a ledge appointment. I met with Chairman Finch from Portland County. Neither chairs will be serving on this committee. And we appointed members of 1 member from each side. We're gonna appoint 1 member of each side. Appointed Ways and Planning Board chairs.
Jonathan, you want 8/31/26.
Oh, I'm sorry, 8/31/26. I say 25. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's been a long day. 8/31/26, yes. It's okay. I was calling it 27 the other day, so I wasn't doing the year straight. All right. Discussion on ledge 4. I need a motion and a second for the amendment.
Move it.
Okay, second. Discussion on the resolution or amendment. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Now I need a first or a second as the, any opposed, I'm sorry. I got 1, there we go. Now I need a first and a second for the resolution as amended.
I'll move it.
Need a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor is the resolution as,
I have a
oh,
discussion
yes, we have
point.
discussion. Go ahead, Mel.
Months back, we were going to review, and this board was gonna be advised on any board appointment redundancies or potential conflicts of interest. That has never happened, so I'm gonna continue to vote no on any appointments until we resolve that. And my no tonight to the new members for CNY net is nothing personal. I'm just, staying consistent in this. I think we do have some issues in the county with our boards, and I think that it's up to us to rectify them, and we are not doing it.
These are legislative appointments for the CNY net that are using members. Both counties have determined to use members of the legislative body to represent them. With that said, I think all of us, most of us serve on multiple boards at this time. Any other discussion? No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1. We have ledge 5, authorizing the chairperson of the legislature to sign an agreement with the city of Auburn for relocation of Cayuga County Backup 911 Center to the Auburn Fire Department. This is not the one that requires 2/3 vote. This resolution is for the rental of the space. I get a first and a second.
Move it.
I don't second.
Any discussion on this resolution? And the rents listed in the resolution is about $5,000 a year. Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. The next one is ledge 6, authorizing the relocation of the Cayuga County Backup 911 Center to the Auburn Fire Department and amending the 2025 budget. This requires 2/3 vote. This is the resolution to authorize the expenditure to move the equipment out of the basement of the Cobb and into the Auburn Fire Department. These price estimates were provided by Motorola and our IT team. We worked with our vendors, and the cost is included. Can I get a first and a second to put on the table?
Go ahead, Mark.
Second.
Whereas in order to cover the cost of the reallocation, funds will be transferred from account A 19090, fund balance to the appropriate account in the amount of 1.2 million, requiring a 2/3 vote of legislature. Discussion.
I just would like to thank our IT staff, for going through all of the trouble they had to go through recently with the power situation that we had. We have to get this equipment out. Again, this is another cost that we couldn't really plan for. We were hoping to sidestep having to do this, because we knew this last year, that this would be a potential large cost. Happy to see it happen, because I'll feel better knowing that we have fortified our data, and our communications.
And this has been something that's been in the works since spring, just so folks are aware. This will still take several months, and we're still looking at the end of the year potentially before we can get this equipment moved, due to the workload that it takes. With that said, this isn't about spending $1.2 million to move equipment. This is about spending $1.2 million to save 8. I just want to make that clear. The equipment in the building is valued between $7 and $8 million, and we run risk of losing it if we do not get it out there, and that's been made clear this summer as well. With the power failures and some of the incidents we've had inside that building. This equipment has to come out. When I met with campus last week, we inventoried the county office building. They will be providing cost of remediation to this board. I've asked them to separate the cost of the basement out from the rest of the building to give you guys a good indication of what the cost of the basement would be separate from the rest of the building in regards as well to moving this equipment. Any other comments? Mr. Strong.
I'm well aware of the fact that, nothing happens overnight. But I would really like to make the point that this move is critical. It should have happened 6 months ago, but it didn't. It is imperative that we impress upon these folks that are gonna actually do the movement, that this is a priority for this county to make this move. And again, I just can't make it clear enough that this is a vital asset to this county. Thank you.
Just have a clarifying question. When you said to break out the basement, you're talking about segregate the cost of decontamination and removal from the rest of the contents of the building? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, they're gonna give us one big picture. I asked them to break it down because obviously this is a priority and we want to take care of this first. So they're gonna break out the price separate from the rest of the structure.
And this 1.2 million is funding that's going to be needed to cover some of those costs.
Those are the costs of removal of equipment and putting it back together, realigning the towers. That does not take into effect the cost of remediation. It's a high number for what it is. Anyone else? Without any further conversation, I'm gonna run a roll call vote. Two-thirds.
We can see if anyone's opposed.
Yep. Ben Vitale,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel,
Yes.
Bob Shay,
Yes.
Aileen McDevitt Coleman.
Yes.
Hans Petcher,
Yes.
Mark Strong,
Yes.
Heidi Nightingale,
Yes.
Elaine Daly,
Yes.
Amy Sargent,
Yes.
Brian Maldolas. Jonathan Anna.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. It was great to be in Locke and I thank you all for being here. I want to again thank the Locke Fire Department for their allowing us to use the building, Legislator Strong for arranging this meeting here. And thank you very much, folks. We look forward to seeing you again. With that said, can I get a first and a second to adjourn?
Over.
Okay.